What I'm about to tell you is true. It is not a fake story. There are many people around the world who watch the movie called The Hunger Games. In the movie The Hunger Games, Katniss Everdeen voluntarily takes her younger sister's place in the Hunger Games, a televised competition in which two teenagers from each of the 12 districts of Panem are chosen at random to fight to the death. You'll see why I needed to give you the information about the Hunger Games. But before I connect the dots between the current events and prophecy, I need to show you the scriptures that Jesus Christ warned us about for the last days. To begin with, in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, we read about Noah's generation and the judgment that came on Noah's generation. And we're also going to discuss briefly Lot's generation, Sodom and Gomorrah, how judgment also came upon those people. In Matthew chapter 24, starting with verse 32, it says this: "Now learn a lesson from the fig tree. As soon as its twigs get tender and its leaves come out, you know that summer is near. Even so, when you see all these things, you know that it is near, right at the door. Truly I tell you, this generation will certainly not pass away till all these things have happened. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away." Down in verse 37, "As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. For in the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, up to the day Noah entered the ark, and they knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them all away. That is how it will be at the coming of the Son of Man." So what we know is, in the last days, there would be a carbon copy generation, just like Noah's generation, where judgment would come upon those people just the way it came on Noah's generation. And if you notice, in verse 32 it says, "Now learn the lesson from the fig tree. As soon as its twigs get tender and its leaves come out, you know that summer is near." This is the nation of Israel. The fig tree is symbolic for the nation of Israel. We see this in the book of Joel, for example. And so the Lord is telling us that when you saw Israel reborn again as a nation, you're going to see all of these signs. And one of those major signs is the characteristics of the people living in the last days would be identical to those that existed during Noah's generation. Now we turn to what the Lord said about Lot. We see this in Luke chapter 17, verse 28 through 30. "Likewise also, as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all." Now the people of Noah's generation, the people of Lot's generation, were godless people, evil people. And because they were so evil, God passed judgment on them and destroyed them all except for those righteous that he found. Our generation is a carbon copy of both Lot's generation and Noah's generation. But before I move on to the news, take a look at what 2 Timothy chapter 3 tells us about the people living in the last days. "This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come," and we know that they're already here. All you have to do is watch the news. "For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truth breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having the form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away." Our society, just like Noah's and Lot's, has lost its way. The moral compass has disintegrated so much that a movie about killing each other, hunting each other down, doing anything that they can to survive, to kill their opponents, has turned from a fictional movie to reality. Now, as I said in the beginning, the story that you're about to hear is reality. It isn't fiction. It's real life. The news comes from the Siberian Times. It was reported December the 15th, 2016, with the headlines, "Everything is allowed. Fighting, alcohol, murder, rape, smoking, anything." These are the rules to new TV reality show, an ultimate 9-month Siberian survival test stranded in a remote taiga with bears and wolves in minus 40 C winter. Now, unlike the movie The Hunger Games, this game is called Game 2 Winter. The article says the online project, screened 24/7 around the world, will see 30 male and female contestants seek to stay alive in wilderness populated with bears and wolves. Organizers boast everything is allowed, including rape and murder, but would-be participants are nevertheless warned. You must understand that the police will come and take you away. We are on the territory of Russia and obey the laws of the Russian Federation. Contestants will be permitted knives, but no guns. They will be given survival training from Russia Elite, former GRU Spetsnaz operatives, but after that they will be on their own, coping with temperatures ranging from 35 C in high summer to minus 40 C or lower in the depths of the Siberian winter. So in other words, the contestants are going to deal with severe weather, extreme cold, and extreme heat. The article shows us a picture of Novosibirsk entrepreneur Yevgeny Payevkowski. And of course, as you can see from this other news article, this man putting on the show is a Russian billionaire who has decided to host real-life Hunger Games. So, just like the Hunger Games, as the contestants who were playing the game were monitored all day and all night long and all week long. Game 2 winner will be doing exactly like the Hunger Games. The contest called Game 2 Winner is the brainchild of Novosibirsk entrepreneur Yevgeny Payevkowski, who said, "We will refuse any claim of participants even if they were to be killed or raped. We will have nothing to do with this. This will be spelt out in a document to be signed by the participants before start of the show." He said, "There have been no reality TV projects before that stay on air 24/7. Probably all of you have watched the Lost TV series, but surviving in a tropical climate is quite different from trying to stay alive in the Siberian taiga boreal forest at minus 40 degrees Celsius. The article shows you some pictures of what this terrain is going to look like. Underneath the picture it says, "You should also keep in mind that this will be a real forest with dangerous wildlife and harmful insects. There will be no filming crew. The whole area will be dotted with cameras, and each participant will be carrying a portable camera with 7-hour life rechargeable battery." And this is essentially what you'll see in that movie, The Hunger Games. It goes on, "Contestants must be at least 18 and mentally sane," he said. "People from all corners of the world will be allowed to participate," and he promises broadcast simultaneously translated in English, French, German, Spanish, Chinese, and Arabic. The aim is to include 15 men and 15 women. Participants can pay 10 million rubles to take part, around $165,000, or face selection by viewers in an online voting session. He believes it will attract rich and risky people carving a new and ultimate challenge. There's some other pictures that were presented in this article. Due to start on July 1st, 2017, the contestants will first receive training, and those brave enough to take part can either survive alone or join together into teams. He warned, "You should also keep in mind that this will be a real forest with dangerous wildlife and harmful insects. Of course, there will be some safety precautions in place, but it would still take about a half an hour to reach the area where the show will take place by helicopter. Those taking part will be urged to forage and store food before winter in order to survive the cold months. In winter, contestants will need to catch fish through ice holes to feed themselves. Their target, to survive until the 1st of April. But it will be no joke. All participants will have to sign release of liability for injury and death waivers, he said. Each contestant will be permitted no more than 100 kilograms of equipment. 100 kilograms equals just about 220 pounds. The only weapons they can take will be knives, no guns. Each week, participants may request some item from viewers who will be able to donate money for it via the project's website. Purchased items will then be delivered to participants. As you scroll down, you'll see a set of 3 different pictures. So far, participants include professional rescuers, people without special training, professional travelers, entrepreneurs, photographers, jewelers, and psychologists. Producer Nikolai Ginsberg said, "It sounds strange, but on this project it will be easier to survive not for a professional rescuer, but for a simple person. It will be necessary to act intuitively rather than following instructions." Pyokowski added, "There were some applications from Chinese extreme travelers. He admitted there could be some difficulties for foreigners because of the language barrier. We are thinking about the organization work by translators with participants." Overall, the show promises to be international. 5 countries have already expressed the desire to broadcast it for their audiences. He stressed participants will be taken to the taiga, and then they will have a choice, either to get out of there on their own or to survive. The winner will get 100 million rubles, around 1.65 million. If there are more survivors, they will share the prize. There's another picture from this article. They're just showing you what's in this area that the participants will be going to. Those who get into danger or cannot face the grueling conditions can use a panic button with a satellite connection. He promises that they will be quickly rescued and leave the show. I'm going to read this just as appears in this article. It says, "The show will absolutely extreme. There are no exceptions," he said. "There will be no doctors with the participants. If someone gets sick, wounded, or realize that she cannot pass the test, the helicopter will take her away to the doctors. Then the participant will quit the game forever." He has found a site, a reserve of 900 hectares in the taiga. And of course, 900 hectares equals a little over 3.5 miles. It will be bristling with 2,000 cameras, and each contestant will have a camera to shoot in real time with a rechargeable battery. He is seeking permission for the contestants to be able to hunt on the territory. It will be broadcast online, but partners will be able to screen the venture on mainstream TV too. This will be a very entertaining and educational project, promised Pyokowski. It's unbelievable that people would go to that extreme to win that amount of money. But this is a sign of the last days. And Jesus in Matthew 24:12 told us, "And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold." Now that you've seen this report, know that it's reality. Take a look once again of what Timothy says. Because Timothy points out that men shall be lovers of their own selves. And obviously, a person would have to love himself more than his neighbor to go out of his way to kill that person if he gets in his way of making over $1 million to win a contest. And the Lord talked about covetous. And it's obvious for all of the participants that are going to be playing in this Winter 2 game, they're going to be covetous of what the other person may take away from them, and that would be the prize money. And anyone who participates in this kind of reality show is without natural affection of the person next to him that he is going to slaughter to get his money. And of course, anybody who participates is going to have to be fierce. Take a look at the meaning of fierce. Violently hostile or aggressive in temperament, giving to fighting or killing. The same characteristics as we see in Noah's generation and in Lot's generation of appearing again in this current generation, just like Jesus stated it would. These are some of the characteristics that you can count on the people who will be going into the show will have. Now, the person who put on this show, no doubt his heart has waxed cold, and he's going to send in without reservation people to go after and kill each other so that he can make even more money than he has right now. God help us all. God help our society, because we've really reached the point of no return, the point of Noah's generation and Lot's generation, and the judgment isn't far off. Without a question, our generation, the hearts of many are waxing cold. And of course, people are becoming hostile, aggressive, to the point where they're killing because they can't control themselves. In America, for example, road rage is out of hand. You would be surprised when you went to YouTube and looked up road rage incidents. You'll see countless numbers of videos where people are uncontrollable, aggressive, hostile towards the other people in the car, and in many cases have killed people because of the road rage. For example, the News Channel 3 on December the 19th of 2016, their report about a young child that was killed. The article says, the Arkansas boy killed in apparent road rage shooting while on a shopping trip with his grandmother has been identified as 3-year-old Austin King, reports CBS affiliate KTHV. The boy died Saturday night in Little Rock. According to the station, his grandmother, Kim King Macon, was behind the wheel and at a stop sign when the driver of a black 2003 Chevy Impala honked the horn at her. The woman honked back, and that's when the driver, apparently angry the woman wasn't moving fast enough, exited his car and opened fire, police say. The boy riding in the back seat was struck by gunfire at least once, they said. The grandmother, who wasn't struck, drove away, not immediately realizing the child was hit, and called the police from a shopping center. The child's little brother, one, was also in the car with the grandmother during the shooting and reportedly wasn't injured. So what's going on in our society? It's plain for those of us who know the word of the Lord. In the last days, Satan would be on a rampage. Satan would become very influential in people's lives who are not filled with the Holy Spirit. And unless you have the Holy Spirit residing in you, you're more prone to attacks of uncontrollable rage, hostility, fierceness, the characteristics that Jesus describes in his word. You want signs that this is the last generation just before the return of Jesus? You just saw them.